Hey everyone, Ascent Types and Perfect Order released relatively recently, and it had some pretty cool cards in it, and of course this came alongside rotation. However, in my opinion, one of the most interesting set of cards are going to be these special energies here. Currently see 3, Growing Grass Energy, Rocky Fighting Energy, and Telepathic Psychic Energy, and these are special because they are part of a set of special energies that we're going to be taking a look at today, and also predicting what's coming next for them because it is currently not complete. The first thing we have here are obviously Grass, Fighting, and Psychic. These are different than a basic energy, which is actually, if you didn't know, the basic energies are like essentially in their own set. They're in special energy sets, but basic grass energy here, it's here it is. It doesn't have any text on it. I don't know. Here it is. And then growing grass energy here says as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, it provides grass energy, and it's also a special energy, unlike basic grass or grass. What am I saying? Grass energy is like the name of the card, but it says basic grass energy, and it says it's a basic energy, and also it's an energy. There's a lot of like, I guess, for the fact that there's nothing on this card, there's a lot of nonsense at the top of it. But growing grass energy is a special energy. This is meaningful because there are a lot of cards that only interact with basic energies that help you out. So, for example, Night Stretcher gets back basic energies, and then you look at a card like Enhanced Hammer, which only removes special energies. So there are a handful of downsides to playing special energies instead of basics. But then it says as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, it provides grass energy. And this is true for the other ones as well. Rocky Fighting and Telepathic Psychic, as long as they're attached to a Pokemon, they provide the energy of their type. Then we have the second line here, the second part of it, the grass Pokemon this card is attached to gets 20 more HP. So obviously, if it's not attached to a grass Pokemon, you don't get 20 more HP there. So if it's attached to any Pokemon, though, it is going to provide that grass energy, meaning that if you're playing, for example, Dragapult EX, then you can play Telepathic Psychic Energy, and this will allow you to use this as essentially just psychic energy when you attach it. Again, you do have the downsides of not using, for example, Night Stretcher, Crispin, whatever. You can't use those there, but you are going to be able to still attach the energy as, you can attach it as just a regular energy. And then you could instead attach it to, say, a Duskull to search out other Duskulls or something like that. Obviously, that's not really where you want the energies, but it does give you some versatility. That is a thing. It is very powerful, though, in a deck like, for example, Alakazam, or it's, I guess, pretty good there. And I will say the 3 that we have so far, Telepathic Psychic Energy, searches for 2 more basic Psychic Pokemon when attached to a Psychic Pokemon there. And then the third one, Rocky Fighting Energy, says that as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, obviously it provides fighting there, and then it prevents all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to the fighting Pokemon this card's attached to. So the 3 things there again are going to be searching for for a couple of basics. You have the stop the effects of attacks and the plus HP one. Rating these 3, obviously Telepathic Psychic Energy is the best. I would be shocked if Telepathic Psychic Energy gets passed up by any of the other ones. I will also mention there are 3 others. We're going to get to those in just a second. But the 3 we have so far, Telepathic Psychic Energy is by far the best. And, theoretically, they also somewhat have to do with the types that they're in as to how good they are. For example, Growing Grass Energy, I would say, is probably the second best. So there's a big, and I mean very, very big tier gap between this and Telepathic Psychic Energy. At some point, I am going to really dive into these in probably a later video when we've seen all of them, and actually we don't know how many we're going to get, so I'm going to speculate on that as well. But with Growing Grass Energy being grass type, if we look at the decks it's played in, it's not played in very many. If you look at all of them here, you can see something like, say, a deck with Tiomasaga Pontiacs, but with Tiomasaga Pontiacs and like Meganium, it doesn't work with Growing Grass Energy, so that's kind of disappointing, but 20 more HP can be really nice. Stop the effects of attacks also can be really nice, but probably doesn't do very much, at least in standard. This is definitely the one that depends the most on the metagame, and I will mention that this card here, as well as, so I'll take a look at the current special energies we have, and we see that we have Mist Energy. Mist Energy will be rotating with the next rotation, so Rocky Fighting Energy surviving 2 years more there. But with those types of cards, they are pretty situational, but can be super powerful. Mist Energy has seen at points tons of play and still sees some play, but ultimately it is kind of specific. Rocky Fighting Energy is going to be more specific because it's both dependent on the deck you're playing and the deck your opponent's playing. But definitely a card to remember there. But then if we look at the other ones from the expansion, again, these are the current ones in standard. But if we look at in Japan, in their standard format, they have the three here. These are going to be translations. So what they do is going to be correct. I trust Limitless on that. However, they might not have the right name translations. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they're officially revealed. But we have Magnet Steel and what? Okay. So by the way, this is like not steel type, it's metal type. So not exactly sure what's going on there. But magnet steel energy or magnet metal energy, obviously the metal one here, and the metal Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost. This is going to be, honestly, I think it is the second best effect. Bubble Water Energy says it recovers the Pokemon's it's attached to from all special conditions, and also says it can't be affected by them. So I guess it's kind of two things there. When we see cards that stop special conditions, this is always what it says. Even in not in standard because oops because it rotated. Therapeutic energy though says that the Pokemon recovers from being asleep, confused, or paralyzed, and can't be affected by them. So it has this two effects, which is kind of weird. I don't know what would happen if it only said one, but anyways, this stops special conditions. This card is also fine. Funnily enough, comparing this and the Rocky fighting energy, the effects of stop the effects of attacks, special editions are mostly effects of attacks. Rocky fighting energy does not remove existing effects, so that is an advantage to bubble water energy there. In standard, I think the main effect of attack is going to be Dory, if I'm not mistaken. They're a trapping Pokemon. Those are super common. There's Mega Absol EX, which can be nice, especially for something like Mega Lucario EX or a really big Pokemon. For a smaller Pokemon, it doesn't really matter very much there. But, oh, there is, I forgot about one. There's Dragon Ball EX as well. And that is a huge one, theoretically. However, with this card, you probably have it on your active, so it probably doesn't actually protect you there. But anyways, stopping effects of attacks is going to be generally better than special conditions. Theoretically, those special conditions could be useful if your opponent's using some ability to mess with you there. Then Nitro Fire Energy, this is the fire one. This one says this one's something. So this one says if this card is discarded by the effect of an attack used by the fire Pokemon this card is attached to, put this card into your hand. So if you didn't know, there are a bunch of fire Pokemon that have attacks that discard fire energies attached, or energies that are attached to them. And so this will bounce it back to your hand. That being said, I guess I'll just show some of the older ones here. So there were two different, I guess I'll just use the term cycles of special energy cards in the past. We got this older one. I will quickly mention with this older one, for example, strong energy here, it can only be attached to a fighting Pokemon, and if it's attached to not a fighting Pokemon, it gets discarded. So this is a big difference in a bigger, or a pretty meaningful difference in a big downside. These are the X and Y arrow ones here. But if we take a look at burning energy here, it's again the fire one. If it's described by the attack of a fire Pokemon, it's attached to, you attach it from the discard pile to that Pokemon after attacking. So I guess it gets discarded and then like reattached or something. But yeah, this is better. We actually see in the standard Boomerang Energy does the same thing. Boomerang Energy doesn't really see play because it's kind of bad, right? But you could play it. But then you also have the Burning Fire Energy card, which is, or Burning Energy, which is like this card I don't think was very good really at all, but it does attach it. And Nitro Fire Energy, one, I do like the name, I think it is kind of cool. But two, it's so bad. Like you can't really accelerate, as I said. You see in standard, for example, the Mega Charizards, or you don't even see them, but like theoretically, if you saw them, you see them alongside Oricorio EX. Oricorio EX, there's going to be a card that is going to accelerate a bunch of fire energies, but it's accelerating basic fires, so this needs very specific synergies, and they don't exist. This is by far the worst one. But again, we currently have fire, we have grass, where's grass? We have psychic, we have water, we have fighting, and we have metal. Out of the basic energy types, that means we're currently missing darkness and lightning, I think. I will mention, I don't know if I said this. The metal one's definitely the second best. This is pretty good. Metal is not super good. It's not seen, I think, as much play as the water one, but it is definitely better than it. But regardless, we are definitely going to see darkness, and we are going to see in lightning there. I'm pretty sure in that, and that'll probably be in the third set of the year. But then we look at the other ones. So the other ones, and I'll dive into what they do in just a second here, so we can kind of figure out what they're gonna do. But we got grass, psychic, fairy. Of course, I'm not a fan of that because with fairy there's 10 types. But then we had metal, we had dragon, we had lightning, we had darkness, we had fire, and we had water. So that's gonna be 9 types. Wait, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Oh, sorry, that's 10 types there. And then double colorless, which is not part of it. Double colorless energy is I don't even know why this is here, but it works on. Or I think it's just like a funny coincidence that it's next to these. It's not even the same era, but this card is not one of those special ones. There are also ones that are more specific, like magma energy and stuff. The ones we're talking about are going to be the ones that can only essentially work on those types of Pokemon. So we have 10 there. If Double Dragon counts, I'm not actually sure. Tell me in the comment section, is Double Dragon energy part of this like cycle of cards? I don't know. But anyways, then we have these here, of which there were 9. Lightning, Psychic, Colorless. This is a colorless one where it only provides a benefit to colorless. Then Darkness, fire, water, fighting, metal, grass. So that's going to be 9 there. And so this one here didn't have dragon. This one didn't have colorless. So both the times there was a type missing out. And if we don't count double dragon because it's a little different and the set it's in doesn't contain any other special energies in it, then there were 9 each time. And also that means that there could be 3 in each set, which feels kind of right. That means either Dragon or Carlos is going to get left behind there. And with both of those types, they are obviously special. They don't have basic energy types there. As I said, I'm very confident we're going to get one for Lightning, and I'm very confident we're going to get one for Darkness. And I'll kind of dive into what I think those will be. Honestly, I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'll take a look at some older ones here and what effects we haven't seen yet. But I'm honestly not sure. I'd love to see both. I imagine it will depend how much dragon support we're gonna get, and I'm not sure in that one, but I do think it. I think it's more likely to be colorless than dragon. I think I'll just say if it's dragon, I imagine it'll be dragon energy of every type. Also, obviously, Dragon Ball EX is the strongest deck in the game, and in some ways that would provide more dragon support and more support for that deck potentially, which isn't really, let's be honest, what people are looking for there. But again, I think that would be a single dragon energy. Double dragon energy is the currently most problematic card in expanded, I would say. It is kind of kind of broken, right? This card I would say is, from what I've seen, borderline ban worthy. It's just it's very very powerful. The best deck is Richie Draco, and the next best decks also are generally pretty double dragon energy dependent. I don't think it should be banned personally, but I do think there is legitimately reasonable arguments to be made for it. I'd ban it over Metachamp, but anyways, that's definitely not for today's conversation. But with that out of the way, let's look at the other ones and see what effects we've seen. So Herbal Energy here it's a heal 30. Quite simply, Mystery Psyche or Mystery Energy here is reduce or retreat cost. We currently have that with Magnet Steel Energy, or Magnet, but it's definitely Metal Energy. But with that, we've seen that's free retreat. This one reduce it by 2, but same kind of idea there. With the fairy one here, Wonder Energy, this one is no effects of attacks, and yeah, it has like double parentheses. The wordings, I feel like it's a little clunky, but maybe not. But regardless, we have that with the fighting one, yeah. And then we got this metal one here. This one reduces damage taken by 10. We currently don't have this. We don't have healing. We don't have damage reduction. There's double dragon energy. This is just 2 energies of every type on a dragon Pokemon. Super powerful. Obviously, presumably not going to see that. I suppose we could see it directly reprinted, but as I said, I think that's too powerful. I think a single dragon energy of every type, maybe even with some benefit, we could see that. I'm not sure, but I think that is possible. We have Flash Energy, the Lightning one. This one says that you have no weakness there. Then the energy, Dangerous Energy. This one says whenever this Pokemon is damaged from your opponent's Pokemon EX, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon there. Honestly, I forgot about that card. I'm not going to lie. This is Burning Energy. We took a look at this. This is very similar to Nitro Energy, except I guess better than Nitro Energy, but Nitro Energy is really bad. It's actually seen a little bit of play in Stereo Edge. Wait, can I read this again? Describe the effect of And okay, I have no idea why this plays Nitro Energies. If everyone knows, tell me in the comment section. I have literally no idea. It seems super bad unless you like get enhanced hammered, which is like a terrible idea because why would your opponent even do that, right? But anyways, if anyone knows that, like theoretically, it would go back to your hand if you use Raging Amethyst, but you can't do that. And then it doesn't interact with Charcadet or Cerula GX outside of that, as far as I'm aware, unless I'm like completely missing something. But anyways, this seems super bizarre. But then we got the card Splash Water Energy. This card's actually really interesting. This one was quite good, and what it does is it says that if the water Pokemon this card's attached was knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you return that Pokemon to your hand. Definitely a pretty powerful and pretty unique effect there. Then we look at Strong Energy. Strong Energy is Energy is probably the best, I think. Increase the damage you do by 20 for the fighting Pokemon. So that one is quite good there. Moving on to the newer cycle, we have Speed Lightning. This is another when you attach it one. This one you get to draw 2 cards. This one's also quite good. Then we look at Horror Psychic Energy. Horror Psychic Energy is going to be kind of like the same as Dangerous Energy, where when you're hit into, you put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon there. Then Powerful Colorless Energy is like Strong Energy, both increase the damage you do by 20. Again, very powerful and strong. It's in the name. Then we have Hiding Darkness Energy. This is another free retreat one. So this one is like Mr. Energy, like the metal energy that is out in Chaos Revising, or will be out in Chaos Revising, and so we have that one covered. Heat Fire Energy is increasing your HP by 20, the same as Growing Grass Energy, so we're not going to see it there. Also, I will say I think it fits Grass typing more than Fire typing, so that's cool, I guess. Wash One Energy, this one is stopping effects of attacks. Again, we saw that, so yeah, we got that. Stone Fighting Energy is taking less damage from attacks, which is the same as Shield Energy, or it's better. That's better than Shield Energy, but it's like the same idea as Shield Energy there. Then we have Coating Metal Energy. This is another. Ooh, there's my voice. Removing Weakness, which is the same as Flash Energy, the Lightning Energy, and definitely something we could see. We've also seen that on a Colorless Energy. Then we have the last one, Aromatic Grass Energy. Aromatic, oops, I opened it in a new window. There we go. Aromatic Grass Energy here is recovering you from and stopping special conditions there. So Aromatic Grass Energy, obviously kind of the same as the water, or yes, the water energy. So that leaves us with a few different options that we've seen before. Obviously, could be something new as well. We have a healing one. Again, the types are, as I said, colorless you're looking at potentially, and then you're looking at darkness and lightning. I don't think we're going to see the same exact cards or the same ideas on the same types as we've seen before. So I don't think Darkness will have a damaging one or a retreat cost reducing one. Obviously, we have the retreat cost reducing one already. I don't think Lightning will have Speed Lightning Energy or a weakness removing one there, but we could see a healing one. I don't think that really makes a ton of sense for either type, and only happened once before, and I think fits by far the best on grass. In terms of taking less damage, which we have seen both times in the past, I could see this on one of the types, probably leaning towards. I have no idea, honestly, but I could see it. I definitely think it is a consideration because it's a generally safe and decent effect. Then we have, the no weakness one. I think there's a good chance we're going to get this. Would be on, I could see it on colorless, to be honest. I think that would be relevant, sticking it on Mega Kangaskhan EX, even Meowth EX. I think it's interesting. Also, the types that have had the no weakness one of them was Lightning, which has that fighting weakness, so that's definitely always been relevant, and removing that is interesting there. I could see it on Darkness as well. Again, I don't think it will be on Lightning there, but I think this is a very reasonable one to bring back. The Horror Psychic or Dangerous Energy, the ones where you get damage when hit into, well, I think it is cool enough. I think it fits definitely best on Darkness and Psychic there with, some a lot of Pokemon that kind of interact with that kind of idea. Then the one Splash Energy where you recover the Pokemon. This one's cool. I don't think it feels like a super regular effect, but I definitely don't hate it either. I think it's kind of cool, and I could see this on. I feel like it fits darkness best. Then in terms of speed lightning drawing two, this card is super powerful. I'd say, lightning definitely is a type that struggles quite a bit. I'd say it just doesn't have as many cards and as many like powerful abilities. So speed lightning kind of helps that type out, makes it feel faster, which is kind of part of its identity there theoretically. So I mean, I definitely don't think this is going to be on colorless. It could be on darkness. In terms of powerful on play abilities, though, for special energies, I think Telepath Psychic Energy has that covered, and while that's obviously different than Speed Lightning Energy, I'm gonna say that we're not getting that. Then with the Powerful Colorless or Strong Energy, increases damage by 20. I think this is actually pretty possible to happen here. It could be on, obviously, I don't think it's going to be on Colorless again. In terms of types, then obviously that leaves Lightning and Darkness. So I'm not really sure, in case you can't tell exactly where these are going to go. I think we're going to see, so the four I'm like feeling that we've seen before. Again, I'd say Dragon. If we do see Dragon, is going to be on the just like an energy of every type, maybe with some benefit. I could even see that one being a little more damage. I think if it's 10 more damage and also an energy of every type, I think that's too good with Dragapult. I mean, I don't think we're going to see a Dragapult buff. Surely not. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's possible, especially with like Patrat kind of being a Dragapult buff. But we see that I think we're going to see an extra damage one, probably a damage reducing, and then probably also retreat, or I mean, weakness removing one. I think in terms, or sorry, weakness removing one. I'm trying to think of the lightning one and what fits lightning the best. I would almost say that like a retreat reducing one would, but again, we have that with metal. In some ways, it could be almost interacting with the types weakness. Some of them have like interacting more with the type strength. Some of them have interacted more with the types of weakness. Specifically with the metal one reducing retreat costs. Of course, metal Pokemon quite often have quite high retreat costs there. So I could see the increased damage. I do think we will see this, as well as the reduced damage. I think could maybe go to colorless. I think increased damage. I think increased damage will go to maybe this one will go to lightning and maybe no weakness to colorless. I'll say this will just be my guess right now. I'll say no weakness will go to colorless. Increased damage will go to lightning, and then I'll say Darkness will have a more out there effect. I'll just say the Splash Energy card. I think that'd be cool. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. Maybe it's just gonna have damage reduction. I'm trying to think of good Darkness Pokemon, and I don't know. I don't know what they need. I don't know what like they kind of like. But again, a lot of the cards don't really interact with it that much either. But they definitely have shown that they are willing to do some stuff that's a bit more interesting with telepathic psych energy and a bit more powerful. Ultimately, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section on honestly what types you think will get special energies. If you think we'll get all 10, if you think we'll get 9, if you think we'll get 8, I imagine it's going to be one of those three there. Whether or not we'll get Colorless or Dragon, I don't even make a poll about that. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. Also, huge shout out to my YouTube members for supporting me. It really helps support the channel. But again, if you just like and subscribe, that really helps support me and is completely free for you. But I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.